so this is your 1-2A integer operations classwork. We're going to start by graphing our model on a number line. So we're going to start at 0 and move to the first number, which is positive 4. Then we're going to go from there based on the second number. So since we're adding positive 2, we're going to move 2 to the right because positives are to the right, and that's going to land us at a positive 6. For our second example, the expression -1 plus -6, again, we're going to start at 0, but we're going to move to our first number, -1, by going 1 to the left. And then we have to move a -6 from there. So negative is going to be to the left, move 6 spots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to end up at -7. And the third one, again, start at 0, move to your first number. So -2 would be 2 to the left, and then move 5 more spots to the left for that -5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, we happen to land at -7. So if you look at what happens there, the rule that you can see is in all three of these problems, we added integers with the same sign. So when adding integers with the same sign, look at your absolute values. What do we do with them? So our absolute values here are 4 and 2. Here it's it's 1 and 6 for our absolute values, and here it's 2 and 5. So it looks like we're going to add the absolute values of each integer, and then we're going to use the sign of whatever the add-ins had already. So if they were negatives, we're going to keep the negative sign. If they were positives, we're going to keep the positive. So it's same signs, add and keep for addition. Now, using that rule, you don't have to model these on a number line. You're just going to get your answers. So pause the video, take a second to do these 4 problems, and then hit play to check your answers. So you should get -15. 12 plus 5 is 17. -14 plus -23 is -37. And -45 plus -12 is -57. We're adding the absolute values and keeping the negative sign. The next section, the problems are a little bit different. So we're still going to do the same scenario as far as modeling. Start at 0, move to the first number, and then move based on your second number. So here we're going to start at 0. We're going to move to -5. And then we have to backtrack because we have to add positive 4, and positives are to the right. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots, and we're going to end up at -1. Second one, start at 0, move to your first number, so up to 7. Now we've got to backtrack because we're adding a -10, so now we're going to go to the left 10 spots. So that's 7 right there, 8, 9, 10. And we're going to be at -3. Next one, -7. Start by going there, and then we have to go +10, so we're going to go 10 in the positive direction. So there's 7, 8, 9, 10, and you end up at 3. The fourth one, start at 0, move to your first number, -3, and then move from there a +5. So 5 to the right, so there's 3, 4, 5, and your answer or sum is 2. And last one on the front of your worksheet, start at 0, go to -8. And then we have to move +4. So we're going to go 4 in the positive direction or to the right. We're going to end up at -4. Hopefully you're starting to see a pattern here of what's happening. Let's flip the worksheet over. There's one more on the back. This one we're going to start at 0. We're going to move to 4. For our first number, and now we have to move a -4 from there. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left, and we end up back at 0. So you should see, hopefully, that the rule, when you add integers with different signs in this case, that you don't add the absolute values anymore. You're going to subtract them. So basically, that's because you're going in 2 different directions on your number line. You're kind of backtracking, so you're going to subtract. So subtract the absolute values of each integer, and this time you're going to use the sign of the integer with the higher or greater absolute value, because whatever you have more of, you're moving more in that direction. If you had more negatives, your answer will be negative. If you had more positives, your answer will be positive. So the kind of shortcut way to say that is different signs, subtract, and take the sign of the higher number. We all know that higher numbers, positives are always higher than negatives. So we want to think of that more as the higher absolute value. Also, you can see from that last example that when you add opposites, the sum is always 0. And that's called additive inverse as well. And try your examples here. Pause the video while you do the problems and then hit play to check your answer. This should be -1. We're going to go across. 6, 21, -34, 0, 34, -21, and then 0. And now we have some application problems. Jessica has $87 in her bank account. She withdraws $25. What is the balance of her account? So withdrawals means she takes it out. It's kind of like a negative or subtraction. So they want you to write an expression. An expression we saw on the first pages. It does not have an equal sign. So we have this positive 87 that Jessica has, and then the next transaction that's added into her bank account is a deduction of $25. So you could say plus -25. Your other option would be to say 87 minus 25. Those are equivalent expressions. You can think of this like the problems above, that they have different signs. So you're going to subtract and use the sign of the larger absolute value. So she's still going to have money because she had more money than she had withdrawn. Or you can do it as a regular subtraction in this case. Your answer should be 62. Make sure you put a label because it's a situation problem. In this case, it's the dollar sign. So $62. Next one. Will is playing a card game. After 5 rounds, his scores are -8, -4, 10, 2, and -5. And they want to know what is his score after 5 rounds. So sounds to me, I'm not sure what this game is, but it sounds like they want us to add all these scores together and see what his final score is. So we're going to do -8 plus -4. We're going to put this in parentheses just so it doesn't get confusing looking like plus minus. Plus 10 plus 2 plus -5. All right, so you got to think about this in steps. -8 plus 4, now you're at -12. Now you're going to add 10 to that. So you're down at -12, you come up 10, now you're going to be at -2. Now we've got to move up 2, so you're down at -2, up 2 is going to put you at 0. And then we have to add a -5, so we're going to go down 5, and we're going to end up finally at -5 points. Right, let's look at the second one. The temperature on a winter day was 15 degrees Fahrenheit. At night, the temperature dropped 23 degrees Fahrenheit. What was the low temperature at night? So it was 15, and it dropped 23. So that's like adding a -23, or you can just think of it as 15 minus 23. Either way, you're going to end up in the negatives because you're dropping more than the temperature was above 0. So you're going to subtract, and whenever you have more of it, that's the sign you're going to get. So it's going to be a -8 degrees Fahrenheit. You can also think of a number line if you make a little sketch. I'm going to do it down here. So here's 0. I was at 15. But now I have to go down 23. So just to get to this point, I've already gone down 15. So I have to go down another 8 to get down a total of -23. So I'm going to land down here at -8. And this last one, you owe your brother $21, so that's like -21. You earned extra money mowing the lawn and paid him $8. What is your balance now? So you're adding $8 into that debt. So it's not another debt of $8, but it's $8 positive dollars put into that debt. So you're adding things with different signs here. It's going to make your debt less. You have different signs, so you're going to subtract. So that would make sense that it's going to be a less of a debt. So you subtract 21 and 8, and you get 13. And you had more debt than you had positive money. So you still are going to owe. So that's where that keep the sign of the bigger number comes from. So that's going to be a -13, and this was money, so dollars. Right, the next thing that you are going to do is to put this away into your binder or folder and then you're going to go to the next link, which is a game that you can play against each other in this class. Don't forget tonight's homework is the practice 1-2A worksheet, both sides. And have fun playing your game.